Hi, everyone. Welcome to the latest of the Overboard Network, a Below Deck podcast. We're back with season 3 of episode 13, Sailing Yacht, titled A Budding Boatmans. In this week's episode, we'll set sail with some returning guests. Interior members have all something to say about Gary, and Marcos pulls off the dinner of the season so far. We'll go over who won and who lost the episode, and go over our question of the week. As always, you can email us at belowdeckpod@gmail.com to submit life advice questions you have. Let's bring in my co-host. Now, Sean, early in the episode, Gary does a couple things that gets Daisy hot. So Daisy gets hot and kind of fumes for a little bit, but Gary comes around and apologizes. My question is, did Gary make the save of the year with this apology to Daisy over this tender fiasco?
John, I'm going to say yes and no. So yes, I mean, Daisy was really mad at him. Like it was that that wasn't like a small fight. That was a big fight. And she felt a little disrespected. And I think what did Gary question her integrity, right? During it?
He questioned her. He questioned her basically putting the guests first.
Yeah, which is basically Yachty's integrity in a way, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So he saves his relationship with Daisy, and also, I don't want to jump in on everything that happens later in the episode, but Daisy was trying to kind of trashing Gary to Scarlett, so he maybe stops that from happening again as well. However, Scarlett sees the apology that Gary gives to Daisy. Scarlett's a little trepidatious as far as like she sees the sexual tension between them. She sees the chemistry, and now she might not want to get involved with Gary since Daisy is her boss. And if she hooks up with Gary, it might piss Daisy off. I don't think it actually would, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's a fair question, and honestly, I didn't see it happening until like the very last part of the episode. Or, I forget what show I was watching. I think I was watching like an episode of New Girl, and like these guys, like basically this older couple who no longer together, they basically get in this like intense argument to the point where they want to like basically like rip each other's clothes off and like make out. And so I feel like during this episode, I saw that same thing where it was like I saw this hot intensity between Gary and Daisy, and I thought, we might have something here, Sean. I know we've been pushing for it.
Right. And maybe Scarlett's intimidated by that now. Or
just doesn't want to step on her boss's toes,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. John, that was a good episode of New Girl. Dermot Mulroney as a fancy man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was a great show. That really captured like those like the millennial friends, I feel like.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I'm currently rewatching that show for the fourth time.
I should too. John, where should we start with Sailing Yacht though?
I think we start with maybe like Gary and Scarlett, because I feel like this is something that's kind of like systemic throughout the episode. So, listen, here's the thing, Sean. Nobody on Twitter can figure out why everybody on the boat seems to love Gary. It is what it is. I don't know if it's the hair. I don't know if it's the charming attitude, but we all just have to accept that Gary will hit on just about everybody, but his success rate is going to be off the charts.
It is. Him and like Chef Ben, probably like, I would love to see those two guys compete for the same girl. Yeah. That'd be amazing TV. Like he's gregarious. People like that. It's the best. Do they make out, him and Scarlett? Literally middle of the day, both of them sober, in the laundry room right before a charter starts. So think what's going to happen the next night out.
Yeah, when the sun goes down, right?
I can't wait. And like obviously Daisy and Gary have a lot of chemistry. Him and Scarlett do too. Like it's anytime they're around each other.
Yeah. I am worried. I am worried that it's just going to get to this point where it's like Ashley's just going to like cock block the whole thing, and she's either just going to get too drunk or just like be annoying or a downer, and it's just going to ruin the whole vibe for not only like this relationship, but like the entire night.
Oh, I worry. So she did that last week, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it'll work this time. Like Ashley says, she wants to ignore Gary for the rest of the season.
Bull,
we don't
I call bull
we
on
don't
that.
believe
Yeah,
that.
no.
But I have a question. So later in the episode, Scarlett asks Ashley, like, "Hey, Gary's been flirting with me. Does that bother you?" And Ashley, like, plays it cool, which I wasn't expecting because she's not really one to bite her tongue. Or maybe she is. Maybe I guess she was with Gabriella a little bit at first, and then towards the end, she was just. I guess she is kind of a behind the back person. I don't know. Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah, but I don't think she was really going to go behind anybody's back here. I think she is just so like she plays this like so proud card. She's probably a girl who says she's never been dumped before, if I had to guess. And so like it's not on brand for her to be upset that like Gary doesn't want to like make out with her anymore. So she'll just be like, oh no, I don't even care about that. Meanwhile, she'll like, I'm not like, this isn't like fun, but she'll like, she's cried over it. But at the same time, she's going to say, oh, who cares? Because she doesn't want to seem like she was rejected.
Yeah. I don't see that deterring Scarlett though.
Well,
I don't think Ash is going to deter Scarlett at this point.
So here's the thing, Sean, that all Scarlett is hearing from Daisy and Ashley is that Gary's trouble, but man, can they get worked up over him? Like it's like if I'm Scarlett in this situation, I'd be down more than ever to maybe make a run at Gary because like I've just heard like, oh, he's trouble, but yet these women are all kind of like at least like if not physically in a relationship, obviously in a mental. I don't know what the right term is, but like because Daisy and him have kind of had a past, right?
Yeah.
So Daisy
and him met out.
Right. And so obviously with Ashley too. So it's almost like if Scarlett's inquisitive, then she would probably have to go try this out.
That is true. I don't want to just Gary being in everyone's mind, like his name being brought up a bunch.
Yeah.
Adds to the allure more. It's all about there's no bad press, right? And Gary knows that. If he's the main topic of conversation, he's doing something right. John, though, their first makeout, Gary and Scarlett, they're just both sober middle of the day. That doesn't happen that often.
Surprise makeout. It was the listen, if we were playing Clue, which I think I have the game, right? I would not have picked. I would, you know what? Maybe I would have picked the laundry room because listen, Gary in the laundry room is just a magician, man.
He's familiar.
He's on home. he's on home turf here. But yeah, I didn't see it coming that way. But you know what? Good for them because I feel like so many times in Below Deck we get into these like drunken makeouts that turn into something that's awkward, that turn into like a an unfortunate situation. Where here it's just like, I don't know, they made out. Maybe they'll make out a couple more times sober, and then maybe they get drunk and they make out or whatever a little bit more. But at least
I think it'll be a little bit more, right? It's got
but at least we're starting off on the right foot here.
Yeah. I was convinced they were gonna have sex during the charter. Oh, should we bring up that was hilarious when Colin, Marcos, and Gary are all hanging out.
Oh yeah.
And is it Colin that's doing the fake knocking?
I think so, yeah. Gary
was so disappointed.
It's funny when I saw the name of this episode, I thought it was a budding bromance just because like these guys were just having such a good time. And it's so funny on a boat with like Colin and Marcos, all the girls are fawning over Gary. But that's because Colin's we'll never know if Colin just decides to like not be in a relationship or be in a relationship for the show. So he doesn't have to like be part of that. Marcos, not sure what his brand is or his type is, but
he seems a little I don't know that he is older. He seems older, right?
Yeah. He definitely seems a little bit more
But then
mature.
again,
Yeah.
Daisy's single too, and like,
Right.
yeah, right, yeah, you're right. It's all about Gary. He knows what to do. He's the only topic of conversation
So he's made out with all 4 girls.
that have besides Kelsey.
Oh, that's right, Kelsey. Yeah.
Mm,
Which, I mean, Gary's not a guy to not hook up with somebody in his department, a
that's
la
true.
Sydney. But yeah, I don't see a future with. I mean, he's not gonna. I don't see a future there.
No, that would be weird. I wouldn't like that. I don't know.
No.
That would feel wrong for some reason.
Yep. No, I get it. Because Kelsey just seems like too innocent. I don't know.
Yeah. There's something. I don't know. I'm glad. I'm glad it hasn't happened.
Yeah. No.
That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
John, should we talk about when Gary requests that Scarlett come with him for the tender ride?
So this was like the real pivotal part of the episode. So you know what? I kind of get it. So to set it up a little bit, so Gary's taking all the guests out to this like lagoon area so they can snorkel. And he's like, yeah, I should bring a stew with me. They can pour him drinks, do this, do that. Like, I kind of get it because it's like every single guest is on that boat. You probably should bring an extra set of hands. I get it. However, that situation also bodes very well for him if he were to bring Scarlett. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
John, I worked in a similar industry. There's no boats involved, but food service, catering, yes, hospitality, right? This would happen all the time. Just like guy manager that there's a pretty girl around.
Yeah.
All of a sudden they're always scheduled together. It's call it what you want. Maybe it's unprofessional. I don't know, but this is just very true to life. And yeah, smart move by Gary. It almost worked.
Yep.
I think if anyone else's Chiefs do, it does, but Daisy can read them like a book.
Now, Sean, let's go a little bit inside this one here. If Daisy kind of does like Gary, then it would be smart of her to go on that boat, right?
Yeah.
A little less time with Scarlett. I don't think Daisy necessarily sees Scarlett as like a threat because Daisy's amazing. But I think it's not a bad move for Daisy, but at the same time, Gary really likes Daisy too. So, I mean, 3 episodes ago, all he was doing was flirting with her. So, maybe it's not maybe Gary really likes Daisy being on that boat too. I think it's a win-win. I
think immediately he sees it as a loss, right? Because he gets pissed. He says he never wants to work with Daisy again. What else did he say? Yeah, he calls her unprofessional. I never want to work with her again. I can't win with her.
Yeah,
which is true. He really can't win with her. But I mean, like, she sees what he's doing. Yeah, but Daisy goes with him, and I guess Daisy does prove her point that there was no need for a stew to come. No, Jen, you have a good point though. Why wouldn't Daisy just send Ashley?
Yeah, I think that she maybe doesn't want to do bad by Gary, and that's not great, right? So
no, that's a great point though. Like, Daisy came along, yeah, and then as soon as they get back to the boat, she immediately starts like venting to Scarlett and just like kind of bad mouthing the guy. Well, no, just kind of basically bad mouthing him. Like, hey, he slept with a stew. Now he's trying to sleep with another stew, and I'm the one that's unprofessional. Now Scarlett's mostly undeterred by it at that point, right? I mean,
yeah, she really is, and this goes more into my play where it's like, hey, Gary's just got this like bad boy vibe going on, and some girls love it, man, and Scarlett might be one of them.
Yeah, and also when Gary and Scarlett are looking at a sunset earlier in the episode, Daisy interrupts that too. No, that's also because they're both supposed to be working, so that makes sense.
Sean, let me ask you a question: if you're Daisy and you secretly like Gary, don't you do all of those things?
Yeah, you do.
Go on the boat with him, bad talk him in front of the girl